Hi, I'm Dasha Pears, and you're listening to my brand new podcast for creatives, Inspiration in Action. I've created this podcast to collect the valuable audio tracks from my Instagram live interviews with the artists who inspire me the most, so that you too can be inspired. I've noticed that besides the fact that there are so many amazing photographers, illustrators, and digital artists on Instagram, there are only a few who share their creative process with the community. However, this is exactly what people would love to know: how all of those wonderful images are created, what's going on in an artist's mind when he or she gets a new idea, how the shooting or making process is organized. That's why I started a series of Instagram live interviews that aim at unlocking my favorite artists' minds, learning how they found their style and gained success and mastery, so that you could use all of this precious info for your artistic growth and creative projects. This episode includes my interview with Ted Chin. Ted is an amazing digital artist from San Francisco, California. He creates mesmerizing composites that seem to stem from another world where everything is possible. In his works, you'll see the whales flying over a city, giant wolves, ballerinas dancing on treetops, anything you can or can't imagine. With more than 120k Instagram followers, Ted has partnered with brands like Puma, Honda, Apple, Facebook, Adobe, and many others. We talked about Ted's artistic path, how he started and how he got to where he is now, how he works with clients, and how to market yourself as an artist. Have a listen. There is precious inside info you won't easily hear anywhere else.
Hi.
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 How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So it's great having you here with us, and
Thank you.
I'm very grateful for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was following your art for I don't know how long already, and every single image is like something that mesmerizing. I'm speechless usually when I see it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about how you started? Because this is the question that interests people the most usually.
Mm-hmm. Where do I start?
How long?
Let's see.
How long have you been doing this? How long?
Well, so for start, I think I've been doing Photoshop editing about like maybe 3-4 years for now, and when I was growing up, I always learned a lot of different like art classes and stuff. But when I was in college, I used to want to be an animator, so like to join like DreamWorks, Pixar's, or like doing some short films or film, that was like what I wanted to do. But
have you given up on that dream? Sorry.
What's that?
Have you given up on that dream?
No, I'm trying to figure out how to combine that 3D skills back with Photoshop to do some new, not new interruption, but for me, it's like a new challenge, right? So I kind of like during the school time, I kind of like went to a different direction. So I started to do more photography and Photoshop instead of like 3D animation, and kind of like one thing led to other. So that's how I end up doing what I'm doing right now. So pretty much I've been always into like arts in like different kind of format, but 3D animation was the one that led me to what I'm doing with the surreal fantasy and dream combination.
Okay. You say on your website at least that you are telling stories with your images, and recently I've been reading some articles on storytelling, and among them was this article on Pixar's rules for storytelling. I don't know, maybe you came across it one day, but they say that each story has to answer two questions: what the story is about and what the story is really about. So let's say if it's a Cinderella, for example, it's a story about a girl who becomes a princess in the end. But what the story is really about, it's the story of a girl who was suppressed by awful stepmother, and then she overcame those difficulties and stuff. So when you create your stories, do you think those questions through in the very beginning? Like, do you have them in mind when you're creating, or you just think that I would like to create something beautiful?
I think for me it's both. So sometimes so I think there's like 2 or 3 different ways how I work on those. I always forget it's 2 or 3. But basically first is like what you say, right? I come up with like a story that I want to tell, and then the next is that how do I visualize that story, and then how do I make it like in one frame, in one single picture that I can tell like the message I'm trying to show the audience, right? Yeah, either it's like fairy tales or like personal stories or whatever that inspire me at the moment. That's the first way how I do it. And then sometimes the second way is more like when I see certain photos, you know, I have like the inspiration right away. So it's more like a surprise elements maybe. So it's like when I'm browsing photos or stock image on my own photos, I'll be like, oh, you know, it'd be cool to add something into it, or make it like a scenery that's something that my mind made the connection to. So in that steps, I'll be like, okay, let's try to create something based on the image I see instead of like the story ideas that I have already. And then the third way is more like when I have people want to reach out and do a collaboration. So I'll just pick on their brands, either from models, photographer, or artists, and then to see what we can like create together.
So you mentioned collaborations. What kind of collaborations do you do now at the moment? And so, do you take photos or do you just do the Photoshop, or how is it organized now?
So right now it's kind of for a little bit. I do work as a photographer with my friends. With the company, I think I put in my bio there, like Creative West. So we do like photography for events and videos for like all different kind of company in the Bay Area. But for myself, I also work with like different brands and then trying to kind of like create like a creative ad sort of style to like help the brands to promote their products, or do like working with them and trying to come up with like new ideas, either for like something they're working on currently, or it's just like helping them to make the product itself to look more interesting when they present it to the audience, right? Yeah, and also a little bit with the Photoshop, with that, what was I gonna say? Also a little bit involving with like social media, you know, promotion for that. So that helps a little bit too. So it's that all kind of like 3 mix up for that. Yeah.
Okay, when you work with brands, is it your idea that all the ideas come from you, or do they come to you with their ideas and you just basically make them come true, those ideas? Well, for example, your project with Puma, how did it work?
So with that, I actually come with I come up with the ideas for that one. So sometimes like client will reach out to me and then they want to hire me because they like what I'm doing. So they let me have the full control of doing like everything. So they'll be like, hey, we really like your style, so here's our product, right? Can you come up with some ideas with that? So the moment like we agree on the term for everything, and that's when I'll like start pitching ideas to them, you know, do some like background research and study for the product, and to see like how they want to promote it. So for Puma one, I actually come up with like 7 different ideas, and they pick the final 3, and from that it goes from like taking photos of the product and then like composite it and present to the clients, you know, so like that. But sometimes like for other one, there's something I did is like the client or the agency have the ideas already, so they will reach out to me and then be like, hey, you know, this is our vision, our ideas, you know, help us to composite it. So that's like something I do too. Yeah.
Which way do you prefer to work?
Probably the one that I get to like have full control. So just like I can kind of do however I want it. It's great to have like critique back, so like, you know, you can help the polish the final product. But sometimes like client has like full ideas, and just it becomes challenging, you know, because it goes back and forth, and then it might happens like miscommunication or like something like you guys seeing differently, you know. But like the first thing still, like you want to make client happy. So it's like I like it when I have more control of it, but usually like they're really nice. Like they let me do how I wanted to do it. So I haven't really have trouble with that.
Okay, okay, I see. And
Yeah.
how um of the work, I mean, how much of the imagery is your own work? Do you also do photography for?
Yeah, so I use stock photos and then I do use my own photos too. So it's a mix of everything. I haven't really counted the photos, but I'll probably say like there's a lot of like, because I started from like stock photo image. Like the whole thing was like I have like hard time, or I was like couldn't really travel a lot. So right, so then like the whole point was like, oh, like a dream place, or like how I visit different area, or like going to like the surreal scenery and all of that. So that's how it all started. So right now I'm trying to see like if I can take my own photo as much as I could, but then more of that is like I'm trying to focus more on like just polish on my Photoshop skills, you know. So like it doesn't matter like what photo I'm using, but I'm hoping to like push as much as together as I could, or like working with like more models or different artists, trying to see like what can I push to the next level, you know, instead of like a simple composite or something. But I don't know, it's just like a back and forth. Like sometimes I want like something simple and brilliant, but sometimes I want something like challenging and like crazy. So it's just like trying to balance with that and see like how I can do with it.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's really. So you mentioned working with models several times. Would you like to work more with close-ups or just models as props?
I think like both. I might be interesting to start doing some like close-up portrait and then do like serial editing to it. So I think I was kind of struggle a little bit just trying to figure out like what I want to do next. So basically I started the whole project. It's called His Little Dream, right? The idea was based on like I can travel a lot. So is that if I visit different scenery area, that's how I see it, or like the real dream, sometimes it has a meaning or a symbolism or ideas, a message hiding in it. Sometimes it doesn't have to mean anything, you know. It could just be like a visual candies or something for your brain to enjoy. But for now, like I think I've been doing that for like almost 2 years straight. So like I'm not saying I'm getting bored of it, but I'm like getting a little bit burned out, or just trying to see like, okay, like now I've been doing this for a long time, like what would be the next thing will be more a challenge for me, right? So surreal portrait would be like a very interesting way to interact with the models, but at the same time, besides like make it visual appealing and polish my skills, I also wanted to figure out like if I can start a new project with like new ideas or directions, or how I want to interact with like different things, you know.
That's really interesting. So do you have any particular idea for a project in mind already, or do you just kind of like trying to see which way to go now?
Yeah, so right now it's almost like end of the year, so I had like some like free time during these 2 weeks from like the middle of the December to end of the year. So I was taking it as like a little vacation, but also I wanted to spend the next few days just trying to I have like few ideas of direction where I wanted to go, but like in the next few days I want to see like which one will work the best and like what can I pop those ideas to. So like that's what I'm currently working on for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you also mentioned in some of the interviews you would like to exhibit your work in galleries and work with them more. And, why do you think it's important?
For what?
Just for an artist to be in gallery.
I think like the main reason I wanted to get into gallery, it was just for well, it's always cool to see your photo being displayed and like big size on the wall, right? Yeah, and I think I enjoy it when people purchase prints from me, and then to see that they will want to hang my artwork in their house, you know, it just makes me really happy. The other reason is like I think I kind of it helps with the marketing, you know, when you have like gallery represent you, and then like, you know, you can have your work like touring around the world, or just like join different festival, and then you get to meet more different like people from like all the different artists, right? So that's like something I will really want to try, because I never done it before. I think I only like have maybe 2 or 3 galleries show so far, and I want to see like how far I can push that to. And those 3 are also in like different countries, so I couldn't like go myself. So it would be like really cool to go somewhere and then see that, and then like you know, just to like see what it feels like to be there.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So another question which is connected with marketing somehow. What do you think is the best way for an artist like yourself, or like for a photographer, to market him or herself? Is it through social media, or is it some other way?
Social media probably is like one of the biggest influencers right now, you know, for all the marketing. But I think like also there's like many different ways to reach out to your like clients and brands and then get their attention. So also working on those two. Yeah, you know, there's emails, LinkedIn, going to events and networking. So with all that is very important, right?
Yeah.
Either on the internet or in the physical world. So yeah, I think like just figure out like what's your target audience, or like what direction you're going with your work, and then see like what's the marketing available for that. But definitely sharing on social media helps too, and not just for Instagram, but there's like so many like wonderful website like Behance, or like all the other big one, Ellos, or there's like so many different you can put on there. But the more you put it on there and more on platform, there's more different people kind of see it, you know, and then they might show their interest to that. Yeah.
Have you attended a lot of events for client search, for example?
Wait, what's that?
Have you attended a lot of events for searching clients?
Events?
Yeah, like you mentioned that going to events.
Yeah, like I met a lot of clients through events. Like when I go to, what's up?
What kind of events?
There's just social events. So sometimes they have like, maybe like it depends. So some brands will host like, for example, there's like a environmental conservation events, you know, about like protecting Earth or like doing recycle, all that. So I just went there out of curiosity, you know, and out of curiosity, and then I met a few people, you know, and then they saw my work. I was like, hey, you know, we want to hire you to do some projects based on that. Or sometimes like fashion brands or food or something. There's always something going on in the city, and then or art gallery or reception. So I'll just go there and then talk to strangers, you know, just to see like, hey, what brought you here? And then are you into similar stuff, or like what are you, you know, looking for, right? Or it's kind of like networking, social naturally just happen, and then I'll just have a opportunity to present my work to them, and then if they happen to be someone that, you know, work on like certain office or place, you know, they're like, hey, you know, maybe we want to hire you to do something. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's super random, but it helps a lot. Also, like, you know, you can just be like introduce your work to more people, and then they might just like talk about it like next day, like, hey, what'd you do last night? Oh, I met this really cool people or person, and then stuff. So it happens like that. Yeah.
Okay. It's really great. Well, especially I believe in California, lots of events are happening, and in the US as well. Like, it's a little bit different than Finland, for example.
Oh yeah, I know you guys have like a personal space, right?
yes, that.
Yeah, waiting in the line far away, just like live my personal space.
Yeah,
that might be different to that.
It's a quiet country, but
yeah. So
peaceful, very peaceful though.
Yeah, so it might be a different way to do that, but yeah, so like, or even like reaching out to a PR agency or like different agency, you know, just like send an email and portfolio, and then they might take a look at your work, and then that could bring out some like cool opportunities too.
Well, getting back to your work, it's clearly like very hard work, and you put some, I guess it's about, well, several hours. How many hours usually do you put in one work?
It depends, like how well, most of the time is more like spending time on the research and ideas that took forever.
Mhm.
But actually go out to shoot, you know, you have to plan the shoot, but then like while you have everything and edit it, sometimes it could just be like a really fast editing, right? Take only like 30 minutes or like an hour. You're like,
Oh,
oh, yeah, I actually got this done. But
mhm,
sometimes it took like forever, more like a day or two, or you still
mhm,
looking at it, just like it's not working, and then you try to come back like a few days later, and then trying to see
mhm,
what else you can change, which is like something I'm running into right now. I think like there's still more I can learn about it, about my work, and then like the direction where I'm going. So I was thinking like maybe do a review on myself on all the work I've been creating so far, and then try to like critique on it, and then see
mhm.
like if I can change like some things in there, you know, what can I be changing, right? Either
Right.
like the gesture of the model or the use of the prop or of the perspective, space, and everything there. Just like okay, like same idea, but if I can make it better, kind of like
Mhm.
thing, right? So that's like one of my options to do next year,
Yeah.
but I haven't figured out yet.
A really cool exercise, I think, because I've been also thinking about going back to my old work and at least re-editing it because
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot, definitely, with
Yeah.
all the post-processing software and the knowledge that I didn't have like 4 years ago, for example. But the shot is still good, but the post-processing sucks. So I think
Yeah, so I was thinking too, even like some recent work that I made, you know, there's always like something more I could add to it. But as I say, right, like you will never be able to like finish your work because there's always something you can do,
mhm,
but you know, you gotta stop at one point for that. But at the same time, I was just trying to think like, how can I make it more like how can I make it better? You know, that's just something
mhm,
I'm trying to figure out right now. Like okay, I have like all this resource online. I have all this knowledge. I know like all these wonderful people on Instagram, like you know, all
mhm,
the cool artists, right? But how can I like also learn from them and then like well adding more to my workflow, you know? So
mhm.
I'm trying to like figure out. And I know this kind of sounds funny, but like you know, like I always kind of like don't like doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. But at
Of
the
course.
end, you kind of notice that yeah, you're doing like something else that's been done already. So it's like a back and forth going on. I think that happens to every artist. So,
Yeah.
and right now, I'm just like, okay, I don't really mind doing like the same thing or similar ideas and all that, but like, how can I make it better for me, you know?
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
I'm just focused on like how can I push the next work better than the last work? Like, what are
mhm,
some like mistakes, you know? Because I think like, I haven't been really looking at my work in that way, just trying to pick all the mistakes I made.
mhm,
So I think I have to really like sit down and take a close look of almost everything. Trying to feel like, okay, like what are like some of the same mistake I keep making, or some stuff that I keep making my work. You know, like if I can change it to make it better, I should just leave it like how it is. So that's like something, yeah, like thought about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually, and I will take note on that. Yeah, I think I mean it's really good exercise. Just look back at your work and see if there are some things that keep popping up with that you can change. So
Hmm.
kind of like you figure out which areas you have to work on, like what knowledge gaps do you have. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, so I think I used to, because it used to just be like I think that maybe it happens to a lot of people, or probably just me. I don't know. So like I was always thought, you know, I was like, oh, I want to be like the original artist, right? That's
yeah,
something
of course.
original. I'm the best. I'm the one with all that. And then you know, and then you also know the fact that everything that could be done is done already, right? So I was always struggling, like, all right, everybody's doing this similar ideas, you know, like for example, I have like a balloons flying with it or like sitting on the swing in the sky, you know.
Or
I like
yeah,
those, you
for
know.
a girl,
Not saying
the
yeah,
red
I'm not
dress.
saying it's bad. Like I love those, but like there's some ideas being overdone like crazy, you know. So I used to hate on those. Like or not really hate is a strong one. Like, I used to dislike them. Just be like, oh, why are you guys still like getting this right? But then like lately I think I transitioned like the perspective or my mindset be like, okay, you know, like obviously if it's cool or like it's idea that's like people are just gonna do it. Like no matter what you do, you know, it's already been done once. Like it will be do like over and over again. So like it comes back to myself. Like, all right, if I'm gonna do the same thing, like, right, is there a way I can make it like way cooler, and is there a way I can make it like my style? So when you look at it, out of all this, like, let's say there's 100 photo with the same idea, you know, and then when you look at it, you can just identify that one. It's like, oh yeah, that was done by Ted, you know, because like they know that style or stuff I put in there, right? Or like I was happen to stand out in all those images, you know, or in a particular way, right? So like even not for like other people or just for myself, you know, like okay, like as I mentioned earlier, right? Like how do I push that to like the next, or make it like crazier or something different? That's something just about, oh, I never thought about it, because like there's definitely like some artists' work I came across online. I was like, okay, this is a similar idea, but I like the way how they do it. So I think there was like a lot of people was working on the zebra, you know. So there's like some people have like the bird pick out the strips on the zebra to fly away. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then a lot of people was copying that ideas. And then I was like, okay, I wonder if there's a different way to do this stripe than black and white, you know. So I saw other artists actually paint the white part or the black part, I forgot, to a rainbow color. So I was like, oh, that's really cool, you know. I really liked it. Yeah. So I think I shared out my story. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, okay, you know, like zebra, like what else you guys got, right? Because I search on Instagram sometimes, like just to look for inspiration, look for different people's work. And I keep searching, and I saw this other guy. I think I shared his work a few days ago. So he had the zebra. I forgot it was a black or white part that I was showing. So it's like a spoon was pouring down like the black ink or chocolate to the zebra, so it fills it up. So it's like half of it is empty. Yeah, and half of it is like coming out with that. So like that was like something really cool. I was like, oh, I never thought about that way, right? So as I said, right, same idea with the zebra, and then like the surreal concept of like picking out the black and white, you know, like what can you do to make it better? So like the rainbow one, and then like the spoon one. I can send you those photos after this call. So it's like, they really surprised me, you know. I was like, okay, I didn't think about that, you know. I was like, okay, so obviously like what I can do is I can challenge the same idea, but like how to make it better or make it unique that will stand out with this, because there's so many people online. Like this is like the information sharing really fast right now. So I think it's hard to like not, or when you make something, you know, like maybe someone else in the other side of the world made the same idea too. You didn't know. There was actually happened to me before. I think like
it happened to me sometimes.
Yeah, so I found the stock photo I really like. I made some ideas to it, and I post about it, and then about like a month later, someone like reached out to me. You know, he's like, "Hey, did you guys have like a contest going, like working on or something?" I was like, "No, why?" So he showed me one of my other friends' photo that we work on the same stock photo with the same ideas, almost the similar composition. I'm like, oh my god, like this looks really bad. And I was like, I'm gonna take mine down. Like I didn't know that was made already. So it happens, you know. And sometimes like so in my case that was like nice because people were portioned with a question that just curious about, like, you know, what was the story behind that we used the same photo, right? But in other case, you know, people on internet might not be that nice, you know. They could just be like, oh, you're copying this person or you're doing that and that. And you never know what's the actual story behind it. Like, did this person actually copy it, or did this person didn't know, or maybe it was inspired by it? So it was just like, it was just crazy, right? So my take is just that trying to just focus on your work and then figure out like, all right, maybe it was been done, but like make sure you do it in your way, and then to like make it like can't really be copied, or like if they copy it, then people will know like that was your work.
Yeah.
You know,
I've written a blog post recently on copying, and I also watched several videos on YouTube about artists copying each other from times, actually, because like when I recently went to Madrid, and then I visited Prado Museum. That's one of the biggest like world's museums, and that was like this work of Rubens, and then the guide said, okay, Rubens was inspired by Tintoretto, Velázquez, and someone else. So like you can see that everything is from different pictures. Like, seriously? So it's not. I mean, okay, now it's on a different level because of the web, and we can, like you said, the information spreads so quickly. But of course, it has been happening like forever.
Yeah. So, and I think like at the beginning of learning arts, that's like, for example, I think I was second grade, I was learning watercolor. And in the class, we do have to copy like the master's drawing with the example, trying to learn how they do their skills and how they pen and everything, right? So I think that's how we learn it, by like inspired by the artists or the masters, and then you trying to learn their craft, and then after like a little bit longer, you trying to like put what you learn together, like mix it out, and then that's become what you make that makes it special, right? And sometimes you just saw something else that really just you want to try it too, right? It's like, oh, I like that idea, I'm gonna try it too. So I think I used to think it was a bad, or it's not a cool thing to do when you copy like exactly the same way, but I think like that's fine. But as long as your composition or looks like different, right? Or you mentioned like what is it inspired by? Because I've seen people like straight rip like the idea and concept from other person with the exactly same layout. Then I get just like a little bit upset about it. I'm just like, you could have asked something else. But I saw like people like adding their own take into it. You know, I was like, okay, at least they're trying, you know, to make it different. Right? They're trying to add in their own interpretation into the idea where they got it from. But yeah, so like it happens, and then I'm just like very curious because for me, I like to dig into like a lot of different art, and then like seeing all different kind of artists work, and I like to chase it back down to see where the first idea or the first group of idea came from, you know.
And what type of art and where do you find those artists?
Pinterest is a great way, or I actually use my Explore page a lot just to look for it. Some feature accounts, and then just on my own, for me, I already have like few serial artists that inspire me, you know, like Dali or Rene Magritte, and then who else? This Raymond. Was Manray or Raymond? I always forgot his name. I think it's Raymond. I always forgot his name. I was typing Google. I was like, oh yeah, it's the other way. And then who else? There's many. So yeah. So I have like a list somewhere. I just remember their work. So I always look for it when I need some inspiration, or like some concept artists. I always type in concept art, even though I don't know the artist, but I love to like look at their work. So yeah, so with all of that, like, because it's just so easy to copy someone's idea these days. Because you see online somewhere, you just take it and you be like, voila, I made this, and other people be like, they don't really care that much about art or like where it come from. So they see the first time, they're entertained by it, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is great. So sometimes I even take like Photoshop photography almost like magic tricks, you know, because you know, it's almost like magic tricks. It's like once you know the trick, it's not so impressive, you know, but it's more like how you. It was from a movie called, I forgot what movie, and I forgot the actual quote, but it was saying like, you know, once you know the secret to the trick, you know, it's not so impressive, but it's like it's how you present to people with that tricks and show, you know, that's making you like impressed by it. So it's almost like we see so many people using the same ideas or a similar way to composite their work. It's almost like each of us are magicians and we're using the same tricks, right? But how we present that show to people, and then how we make it our way, you know, that makes us different from that presentation and show, right? And also like everybody's trying to figure out what's like the secret behind your magic tricks, like how you added it, how you composite, how you shoot, everything's right. And some people like to hide the tricks, some people like to show, some people like to like debunk about like other people's tricks, right? Just like, oh, this is how they do it, and this is how they show that, right? So for me, I was thinking, yeah, this is almost like a battle between magicians. I don't know, but right? So like with the same idea, same skills and tricks, like how can you present it better and then make it more exciting and interesting to your audience? It's sometimes that's how I feel about Photoshop, you know. just like voila, and then they're like, okay, impressive, or be like, oh my god, how did he do that? I was like, oh, I saw this trick before, but you did it really funny, and I like that, right? So that's like, it'll depend on that, a personality, and then like how you take it to that to show them, be like, ta-da, and be like, yeah, slow claps, or be like, oh my god. So yeah, and then pretty much a lot of tricks, magic shows and stuff, you saw those act already, but like how they present to you is different per artist. So that's sometimes I feel about Instagram. Also, like, I always joke about this. Like, sometimes I feel like Instagram is like we're in like a big school, right? And then I don't know if this happened to you, but this definitely happened to me in high school. So it's like, your homework is due, but you didn't do it. So you ask your classmate, hey, can I copy it? So I was like, yeah, sure, just copy it, but make it slightly different so it doesn't look like you copy straight from me.
I know.
So that's how I feel about Instagram. Before, it was like a year ago. I'm just like, I feel like we're all in school, and then someone needs to like turn in their homework, be like, hey, let me copy that real quick and just make it slightly different, and then turn it in, and then teacher or professor, people, oh, okay. But yeah, it was just a joke. But
yeah, well, it is a cool metaphor, actually. Do you like sharing your tricks, like, or are you one of the? Well, you did share it during the live with Adobe, right?
Yeah. So
so you're sharing.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking to take a different new direction is I was thinking about doing like YouTube or Twitch for next year, but I didn't feel like necessarily doing like tutorial because there are so many great tutorial online already. Like, you can look it up and they're free on YouTube everywhere. So what I wanted to show is like trying to figure out like, is there other interesting way to help people learn Photoshop while like it's like we're having fun, or like kind of different way, right? Or thought about like, doing one of those like showing people how to do other people's tricks, right? But I also thought it would be interesting to invite a host themselves to come too, right? Or do something collaborate, or just like because I think luckily I know a lot of like different artists on Instagram, so like they're based all around the world, and each of them have like very unique own style. So I think it would be very interesting to have them on the internet, like what we're doing right now, right? Just to kind of like talk with people and just show like how they do, and just like kind of interactions from like different ways of that. So I still have to figure all that out. So that's just one of the possibility for that. Trick wise, I don't think like some other thing I thought about is that maybe it would be interesting that we'll go live. I mean, I'll go live with my audience, and then we'll learn together. So it's like I'll be watching videos with them, and then like trying to figure out how to do stuff, right? That might be interesting to do. So it's like we're all in like a fun class together. That would be one way to do it, but I need to figure out like what are the rules with copyright and playing videos in your own videos. Like, are you allowed to share them, like the music? And so that's like a lot of like different things. I have to take a look, before I dive into that, because that might not be the right thing to do. Or YouTube and Twitch obviously have different rules and different type of audience. So that's that.
I see. How often do you publish stuff on Instagram? Like,
I try to do it
every day, every time.
Yeah, so I use Photoshop every day, either for on purpose or practice or just having fun. Every day I'm just trying to open it and play with it a little bit. I try to push it 3 times a week, but lately I've been feeling that when I push it, those works on certain speed is a good challenge for me, but also I feel like the quality of my work is not as high as where I want it to be, as you know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this is like probably the best struggle right now. So like if I can post like really often, post it all the time, and then the quality of the work might not be as great as where I want it to be, but you can also stay active on social media, getting more attractions on there, while you gain audience and all of that, right? So they'll take a look at your work every day and interact with you, and then you can explore on your social media marketing branding for that. The other side is that I'll be posting slowly and then bring the quality of the work way higher. But since you're staying like sort of not active on social media, so your audience might drop slightly, and then a lot of people might not have patience for that. Yeah, and then you have to compete with people who happen just to be super talented or just happen to be posting every day. You're like, how do you do that? You know, I don't understand. How do you do that? You know? So yeah, with this two direction, like, all right, like I definitely want to post slower, just to bring the quality of my work higher. So I think like my other friend Justin, he actually made this video of like I think it was a god of death with like a red cape with the Golden Gate Bridge, you know. It was like a 3D video, but it went viral. And he believed that it's better to just make your work like slower and polishing everything, right? And then you present it, and then it will make like a viral on internet. So I think that's like probably a lot of masters was like that. Like they practice every day, but they only present the best to the table, right? Also, but I don't really know if that would be a good direction because those are like back in the days, you know, it's different from where we are right now. So what might work before might not work right now. So I still need to find a balance, right? Even just once a week, I think that still be cool to do, or just post on like behind the scenes or something going on, but like you don't want to bore them. So it's like you're trying to find a balance and figure out like what will work with your audience and you the most, right? And then as long as I can push myself to more skills, you know, I think that's like the direction where I want to head to right now. But yeah, it is a struggle trying to figure out like, all right, do I want to post to stay active in, or if I don't post, you know, the engagement will drop. Also, like based on this platform that we're using, it's very hard to figure out how it actually works, you know, because it used to be like when you post at a certain time and days, people will see if they're on their phone. But now it's like if I post, some people might not see till like 3 or 4 days later.
Yes.
And I'm just, as long as like people can see, I'm fine with it, you know. I'm like happy they can see, but sometimes they just don't. And then I feel it's like, oh come on, like Instagram, do something about it. Right? And just like yeah, like, but I just appreciate like trying to appreciate more like as long as I have people like seeing it and then comment about it, interactive thing, like, you know, I'm happy with it. But yeah, this is like that's like a whole different thing about like social media and then this platform, that platform, you know, so it works differently. So also this is where I also want to like explore my options on different websites. For example, like the Behance I was doing, I went on there and I see like so many different amazing artists work on it, and then they do a breakdown of all their projects and idea, and there's so much to learn at that website, and then just so many different things like I can try on there, you know. But it takes some time, and then you got to balance with that, like, well, as an artist, you just want to focus on creating cool work, but also since you're by yourself, so you have to do that branding and marketing, and then you have to balance all that while you try to do everything all at once by yourself. So that's a lot of work. But
that's a lot of work. Do you are you currently full-time digital artist, and you support yourself through that through your client work, or how does it go for you now?
Yeah, so I'm actually, I guess I'm actually employed by my friend, so we work on projects together. But I do for right now, this current year, I bring most of my clients. But for next year, we want to see like we want to think bigger, right? Like to bring more bigger clients for like for our team. So that's why I'm slowly trying to figure out
dream client?
What's up?
Dream client?
Dream client?
Yeah, like
I do. So not necessarily fashion brands, but I do want to work with like designer who can make like really cool like wardrobe or like gowns or like dress, or, you know, with like, it doesn't have to be celebrity or anybody famous, but like something cool, just different to bring onto the table and the interaction.
I think that's possible.
Yeah, so with that, and like the goal is to probably see one of my work on the billboard, you know, or like one of those giant sign, or on the side of buildings, or like display at the mall. That's something I really want to like trying to see if I can do it next year. I can figure out a way. So just have one of those, it will be like really excited as like the first step. Yeah, and then I just love this is one of the reasons why I love like about like freelance life or like the style, because you get to work on projects with different clients all the time. You know, it's not necessarily the same client. Well, it's the same client, but they'll come like once a month or like once a year or like once per 3 months. But it's just like you get to work on with like so many different clients from like different categories. You know, because like one day I could be working at Facebook taking photos of the events, and next day I could be at Adobe and then creating some like fun stuff with them. You know,
Right.
and the next I might be at a random new startup tech company just trying to help them to do something else. Or I was being helping my friend building some rigs or help them shoot some like sports for the Warriors or like all that. So it's just like very exciting. Like I get to try different thing every other week. It's like, hey, you know, what are you doing this week? You know, I don't know, maybe go shoot something else or do that. You know, so it's like that's what I like about it. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. One question I wanted to ask you was about your very beginning. What was your biggest challenge when you were just starting out?
Wait, my biggest challenge right now or when I first started?
Well, when you were starting out.
Wait, when I first started?
Yes, yeah.
Think first starting, it was more like a directions, you know. So like, I think this probably applies to many artists that just finished school, right? They because most of the time we're in school, we're polishing our skills, and then we're just trying to learn how to be a better artist and to graduate with the degree, right? And then you probably have a goal to where you want to work, or you have a sense of direction, like what you want to do, right? So for me, it was like I was learning all these skills so I can find a job, but I didn't necessarily have like a direction of like like my long-term goal. Like I was like struggling trying to figure out for myself is like the style and the art and the skill, you know, what I can do to make my work, right? So that was like the first struggle. And then second is like, all right, after I figure those out, like where do I get a job with that? You know? How do I find an opportunity with it? So like figuring out those both, I think took me for a while. And right now I think like I know exactly what I want to do, and I know exactly where I want to work, or like what brands I want to work with, you know, and then what projects I'm like want to try. So figuring out those, I think that was like the first struggle, you know. It was like really challenging.
Do you sometimes reject some projects?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Mainly it's like my friend also like he helped to manage some projects for me. So most of the time is due to like the timeline and the budget. So like most of the time I don't really turn down the project, but when it comes to like a short-term notice, and then with like a really not enough like amount of like the budget to work on that, and then I'll be thinking like, do I want to struggle myself for like 2 weeks and trying to turn this in with like not enough of like you know, support for that, or I don't want to do that, you know. It's like maybe I don't want to do that, right? Because I actually got a few opportunity like this recently, you know, but they want the deadline to be like 1st of the January, like next year. So I was like, well, like this is gonna be difficult. Well, one, it's not because of the short time. It's also like it's just not gonna happen when you have to come up with ideas and then you have to communicate with your clients, and there's always reversion, there's always something they want to change, and everybody's gonna be on holiday, so it's very challenging, you know. So but I think like I'm just gonna be straightforward with it, with the amount of with the right budget. Yeah, that's doable.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's like you also have to think about like how much is your time value. You know, it's what they're offering. Is it worth for what you can bring to the table? You know, like those are like some excited opportunities, but then my manager have to help me to turn it down just because like it's not worth it. You know, like it's just not gonna work out. You know, for that. But sometimes like with like some other bigger projects, like Yeah, it happens. Like, there's definitely some project with like a shorter deadline, but it was just like you have to consider like, is it worth it? You know, like what's like the benefit, like to make it all win-win for both sides, and then like is this like an excited project like you just want to do it anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So those could be worth it too. And if it's challenging, like what you can learn from it, and then it's a good opportunity, right? So like you have to consider a lot of it before you actually say yes to the project, you know. And also you don't want to make yourself struggling and then like feeling so burned out and tired after you
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
right? Then you lost the passion about it, and then you don't feel like motivated at all. So that's like very dangerous, especially for artists, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had the same situation. If there are so many people approaching me with collaboration requests, but if the project is not funded or not too exciting for me, I will turn it down.
Yeah, so I think like one my friend had a struggle is like at the time he really needed the pay his bills, or he needed the money for that, right? So he would have to accept some of the projects that might not meet his usual requirement, right? So I think that's fine, you know, if you really need it, right? So you need to consider like, do you need it or not, and is it worth it or not? Right? So I think when you really need it, and I don't know, you have to take the job, right? But if you have the opportunity, that you can think about it, right? Like if it's worth it or not. Like you can like gently turn it down, but it's not just saying like a straight no to the client who requested. Just be like, hey, you can tell them like, you know, something's not working, but you do still look for the future opportunities when there's a right time or a moment, the right with the right project, right? So like you don't want to like turn it down all the way, but just saying like, you know, this particular project is not gonna work for you, you know, right? And but like if there's future projects and opportunities, you know, please think about your you as part, right? Please think about me, and then you know, just still remember I'm still here and I'm available to do like all that cool work with you guys, right? Just for that part.
Yeah. Do you think it's important to evaluate your achievements that you've made during the year? Like we're close to the end of the year, so people are thinking of what are the results of the year's work. Do you think it's important, or do you think like, never mind?
Wait, sorry, important for what? I didn't hear it.
Do you think it's important for yourself to evaluate the year's progress?
Yeah, I think so, because that's actually what I was gonna do. You know, so I think about like kind of like I think it's like if you have a job at the a regular office, right, and then you have to do the yearly evaluation, or like kind of like self inspections, like to your manager, or like people are like to write about like, oh, what did you learn this year? What did you do better? And like, you know, what could be better next, right? And then I think just as an artist, it's always good to like push yourself, or just as a person, right? Like you want to like push yourself to the next level, or like what you can make it better. It's just always about like make it better, right? Or enjoy it, and then like for that. So I think it's pretty important. Just like sit down, take a short break, and then take a look at the work you've done, and then just like, okay, you know, like did you try your best for all the project that you turned in for all your client, or just for yourself, right? If yes, then that's great, right? So if you did try your best, then be like, all right, what would be like next to learn for that? And if you didn't try your best for some projects, you know, and then you have to take a look at is that why you didn't try your best, and why you wasn't like pushing for that. So figure all that out, you know. It's because like from the situation you were in, there's something happened, or like something just wasn't working out, you were burned out, tired, right? And then figure out next is like what can you do to prevent that happen again, and then how to do that. So like right now, I know like a lot of time, like when the project is due, let's say in like a month, you know, I wouldn't do it till like 2 weeks before that, or like week before, right? That happens sometime, but I want to make sure like whatever I'm turning in, it is the best I can present, you know. So even though sometimes I'm not working on it, I still think about it, you know. All right, you know, I know that thing's due in like a few weeks, but like, is there any like ideas right now? I have like a short break, I can think about something, and I'll write it down on my phone or on a notebook. Just do, and then if that did happen to me, which is like before, like I got like slack or I got lazy about it, then I need to like be careful with this, and then like, because you want to make sure like you are turning the quality work that you're hired to be doing, right? So the client will be happy about it, and then they'll also come back to you. You want to build like a long-term relationship with them. So, but yeah, so I think it's important just to like, just take a look at yourself and then just to see like, all right, what's next, right? What can be fixed right now? So yeah.
Yeah, and great to hear that you have big goals for the next year, and I think for not only this year but for the future, like the YouTube project that you mentioned with the, or maybe not YouTube, the live projects with the artists and like conversations about Photoshop and stuff and tricks. And meanwhile, I've turned on the comments. So now if guys, you have some questions, you can type. And we had one about supporting ourselves as full-time digital artists from Viv Montame. But I think you pretty much do that.
Yeah. I think we'll make the video available after we went offline, so you guys can watch it. We answer that questions in that, but in the short term, I think there's a problem in the most of the school that we tend to, either it's our school or regular school that have an art program, is that they teach us how to be a better artist, but they never taught us how to marketing yourself or in the business way. So trying to go dig into like branding and marketing, and then that would really help you and yourself for the business wise better. I don't know for most of the other art school or other artists, but for me, definitely I didn't learn anything about marketing, about my work when I was either in college or grad school. They do tell us like how to find like a target audience, like what you're making is for who and what. But visualize or everything, I think that's just like they did teach me how to be a better artist, but definitely didn't teach me how to work with brands or like how to like reach out to them, how to present yourself in front of like agency or like portfolio show. So I didn't learn any of that till like I have to face it and be like, oh yeah, how do you do that? So problem solving, Google, and asking your friends who have experience is very important, or seeking help on internet, right? Like, hey, how do I get these jobs and how do I do that? So that's like a short-term answer for your questions.
Yeah, and I also we talked about working with galleries. It's a whole different story. You need to work with galleries, like they only work with specific projects. You cannot just send them individual images. They want the whole story behind the projects, and so that's really tough.
You have to find the right gallery that with the right category that goes with your style, and that they were willing to represent you, which takes forever and is really hard. Sometimes you just got lucky and they'd be like, oh yeah, we like your work, let's do this, and be like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I recently also talked to one other artist. I don't know if you know her, Patty Marr. She's from Canada, and she's working with several galleries. She was telling me that she was sending like hundreds and hundreds of emails.
Yeah, you have to. It's just like, it's almost like a job interview, You have to send out like hundreds of letters, and just hopefully one will say yes, and then that'll make all that effort worth it. Someone's asking, what kind of Photoshop work do you get as a digital artist? I think we talked about that too.
Yes.
So it's like more like creative directions with the ad as how to make their product in a new take for like selling it. So for example, if we're selling this mouse right here, and they'll come to me and be like, hey, we want you to promote this, or make like a concept art to make it cool, So then I have to see like, all right, what are like some cool ideas to bring that with the mouse, right? To make it like come alive, or like decide like, it depends what they want to promote. Maybe they want to promote wireless, or they want to promote like it's light, or heavy, or I don't know, like anyway. So like you ask client, but yeah, so pretty much like we talk about it. You ask your client what they want to promote, and you bring it.
That wraps the interview up. Thanks so much for listening. All the show notes for this podcast can be found on dashapears-art.com/podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and got a dose of inspiration. If you haven't, please go to a podcasting app and hit like and subscribe. It makes a whole world of difference to me and will indicate that I should go on with the next episodes. Now go create! Until next time!